Hey guys, so I was working on updating the Slack clone to use Express Session, and I didn't realize until about 15 minutes in that there would be a kind of big problem. So I use create file link. This is one of the files in the project, and what this thing does is it creates our own link. And the reason why we created this was to send files to our Apollo server, and this worked great for that, but it's for whatever reason has trouble sending, or not sending, but a cookie is being sent to us, but we are not storing it. And I had this exact same problem with Apollo Boost for some reason. The exact same code would work with the HTTP link, but it would not work with Apollo Boost, and it will not work with this. I'm not quite sure. I would have to dig quite through the code, and I don't really want to do that. So I'm not unable to really try to convert the Slack clone over to using Express Session, but I kind of started it. And my plan is to I'm working on how to do cookies and authentication, and when I finish that, I'm going to be doing a new series. And with that, I'll be showing how to do authentication with that. So I'm sorry I cannot get the Slack working, but we will be doing a new project in the future with how to do it. Basically, there would be too much code that I would need to uproot from this project, that I think it's better off to just start fresh, because we'd be basically just destroying a lot of the code. And I think, I think creating a Slack clone from fresh would be easier than trying to go in and fix this, because now I would have to remove this piece, and it's kind of like a chain effect of removing pieces. But anyway, yeah. So sorry I couldn't get this to work. We will be getting this soon, but I did actually record like the first 15 minutes of me trying to get this to work. If you'd like to watch that, after I'm done here, I'll cut to that, and you guys can watch that if you want to, but do note nothing works. I don't get it into a working state, but you can see how we fail if you'd like to. What I want to do tomorrow also is show you what I'm talking about with, if I can show you with Apollo Boost and HTTP link, why for some reason cookies will be set with one but not the other. So that's it, guys. You can either stop watching here, or if you want to see basically the project not work, you can continue watching from here. That's it. See you next time. Hey guys, so I have gotten multiple suggestions to see how Express Session would work with the Slack clone that I made. So today that's what we're going to take a look at. So I haven't actually looked at the code for the Slack clone in quite a bit, so this is going to be interesting. Basically just going to do some live coding. I thought that'd be more interesting, and give a different perspective than just already having it all coded up. So with this, I'm currently on branch 52 on the front end, 52 underscore EC2. So here I'm going to just create a new branch called cookies, and I'm going to just work from here on the front end. And I have it up and running, and then here's the back end. I'm going to do the same thing. So I'm on branch 56 underscore auto deploys, and then we're going to do checkout cookies. So I'm on new branch, and we're going to start from here, this point. And I haven't really prepared anything or looked through the code. So the first thing that I want to do is I have it open on the left. Here's the Slack server. I have index.js. Is just to add an Express Session. So I guess I'm just going to say yarn add Express Session, and if I come over here, I have the GitHub open for the Prisma tutorial that I did with cookies. So I'm just going to copy the settings that I used for the session, because it's going to be the exact same. So I'm going to just import session from Express Session. And then if we come down here, I'm just going to add it right here. So app.use session. Now ideally we have this in the environment file, but I'm just going to go ahead and make my secret like that. And alright, this is pretty much set up for our session now. The other thing is CORS. So with that, we need to set credentials to true, and then the origin. And if I come over here, I think the app is running on localhost 3000. So we're good keeping it on that origin there. I could add another one if I want to test this in graphical, but we'll leave that for now. Okay, so now we should be able to send cookies down at least. And one way to test this, I guess, would be to make this true. But I'm pretty happy with this, what it is right now. So what we did before is we had this add user, which would read in a token from the header. And then we'd set the user based on rec.user. So I'm basically going to do the exact same thing, but with sessions. So where did I add user? Here we go. I'm surprised I didn't add the user right here. I guess that doesn't matter. So instead of this, I'm basically going to add user to, and we're going to create this function right here. So add user to, and this is going to take same arguments as usual. So request, response, next, because this is going to be express middleware right here. And so all we really want to do in this is to get the user and set it on the request, so request.user. So to do this, I'm going to say request.user is equal to request.session.user. And that's it. So after that, I'm going to just return next, and we're good. Now, I guess I should need a semicolon there. So I'm not going to worry about any of this refreshing stuff, because I'm just going to basically have it last for 7 days. Or you know what, if I'm doing it like this, I'd rather just have the cookie last a long time. So we'll say 365 days times 7, so what is that, 7 years now? Okay, so we have our cookie lasting for a long time, and I'm not going to store anything that would change in the cookie, or at least in the session, so I think we're good. And what else do I want to do with this? It's not happy because we're not using it. That's fine. I'm not even going to bother commenting it out. So we have that set up. We have our add user, and we need to actually add the user when they log in or whatnot. I don't think we're going to have to change any of our permissions, because with permissions, what I would look for is the user in the context, which it gets passed in the same way as before. I think it's just auth is what I had it in. So here's all this refresh token stuff, and in my index, I now just need to pass another thing into my context, and that other thing is the request object. So now that I have the request object in my context, and auth.js, when I try to log in, cool. What I can do now is, instead of setting tokens, and what I think I'm going to do is at first make this not delete any code that is here. So maybe in that case, well, you know what, we already deleted that code, might as well start harvesting. So now we're only going to return basically true or false here, which means we're going to have to change our GraphQL. And I don't need to worry about creating tokens. So we fetched our user, and actually I guess let's do OK is true. We fetched our user up here, so we can say request dot session dot user is equal to, and I think we just stored the user ID in here, so I'm going to say user dot ID. Now we need to pass in the request, and I don't think I'm using the secret anywhere. We are using models, so I'm going to get rid of the 2 secrets, and so now we're just going to pass in request when we try to log in. So this is going to be our resolvers, the user resolver. So here I'm now going to pass in the request object. And we want to basically do the same thing for register. Actually, no, we don't. I forgot, with this one we're not actually giving a token back when they register, which is okay. Okay, so I think we're good. At least a cookie should be set when they log in. So I'm sure we're going to be causing errors left and right. I was about to run it, but what I want to do is update my GraphQL. And I forgot where I put that. Schema user. So now in login, the login response is just going to be OK and errors, which I want to say I made something called void response maybe. No, I didn't. So this is fine. But I also need to update this on the front end, because now I'm expecting 2 tokens back when I log in. So that's over here in the client, and routes login, that looks like the right place. And so now I'm setting these tokens. So I'm not going to do that anymore. Now this might break subscriptions though, because I believe I'm setting the token in subscriptions. We'll have to worry about subscriptions, I think, at a later time. Oops. Okay, so now we're setting the tokens when we log in. So now I need to change the actual GraphQL, which is down here. And now I'm not expecting any of those tokens. Okay, so I'm going to leave these windows up, and let's just see what kind of errors we get. So I guess sign up, or maybe I call it register. Okay, so I'm going to call this Tom at tom.com. Alright, looks like we got data back, no problem. And let's open up the application, and now I'm about to add this, and we expect to get a cookie back, but I don't think we will. And the reason for that is I forgot to make one change. So in Apollo now, what we need to do is in our HTTP link, which, where is you? Here we go. We just need to say credentials, and I think it's me. Is it fetch options? I don't even remember what it's called. And we're going to say include. I don't know if that is the right thing. Will it tell me? Oh, this is create file link. Oh, we coded this. I forgot we made our own file link. So we should be able to just see. Alright, so we're expecting credentials. Yep. So we actually are using credentials. So that is fine to pass in. So this is actually going to be the deal breaker right here. So whether or not this works is that file link. So let's go ahead and, well, let me click on it. These fields are just like not accessible for, oh, that's interesting. None of these things will let me click on it. I'm not sure if my computer is, there we go. I think I was just focused on that other Visual Studio Code instead of the Chrome for some reason. Okay, so nothing happened. I'm assuming an error occurred. No, it said okay, true. And let's look at the network. So I want to see, so we got set cookie back here, but we don't see a cookie here, which is unfortunate. And what else? I don't know why we didn't change pages. Actually, I do know why we changed pages. We didn't change pages. I think we changed pages, but changed back right away. And let me show you what I mean by that. So we have this thing called a private route. And in the private route, we call is authenticated. All right, so this is authenticated function checks whether we have a token, and we don't have a token. So that's why it reverted back. So this is something we'll need to fix because we no longer will have the local storage tokens. But before we fix that, what we really need to fix is the cookies not being saved. And that's going to be because we're sending the token back. There's 3 things that could cause this problem. 1, the cores aren't working correctly, but I think we're fine with this. And the session cookie is being sent back. My guess is it's not working here. So create file link is not working for some reason. So I'm passing in credentials include. This part is what we could be having problems with. So if I look at my create file link code, it is called credentials, so I am passing that in correctly. And we're setting fetcher options credentials in there. I guess I can look at my request header, whether it has credentials include or not, and it does not look like it does. And I think it should. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna try hard coding this. So I'm gonna say, so notice how we did if credentials, we have this. I am passing it in, so I'm not quite sure why that's. I don't really want to debug it right now, so I'm gonna say fetcher options.credentials is equal to include. Now I could be wrong, but I think we should see, I guess we're not saying fetcher options.header. We actually might not be seeing this. Let's add another console log, fetcher options. So we'll see if it's getting the credentials before we set it right here. It looks like it actually might be. I was thinking we would see that value in the header. So submit. Wait, this code's not even getting run? That's interesting. Okay, so response headers allow credentials is true. Network tab still doesn't have it. And I see nothing here. I honestly have no idea with this, and we never console logged this. Does that mean this is never being run? I mean, we can just do a nice little console log there and see. We should be seeing something, I would imagine. There we go, that's better. So here are my fetch options. So before I wasn't getting it. So okay, officially credentials is include, which is correct. And I guess Apollo GraphQL, we can double check that that's what we need to do, which I believe it is. If you go to client, React, and authentication. Okay, so you can either do same origin or include. So we're not on the same origin, so include is the right thing for us. And let's just make sure, yep, cookie is still not being set. And my guess is it's buried somewhere in this code right here. So it's in the create file link somewhere. It's not being correctly used, which I'll just